this time.
James Russell, you hustling son of a...
It's me, your daddy, Roberto.
Me a boy's name that starts with the letter H. Jose.
Now look at me now. How far we go back? Elementary, jump rope, hide and go seek, pity pat, red light, green light, red light, green light.
When you just talk about practice, we sitting here, I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice. Talking about practice. Not a game, not a game, not a game. We talking about practice. We talking about practice, man. But we talking about practice right now. We talking about practice.
You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game.
You are tuned into Straight Bet Sports on the Guerilla Cross Radio Network.
We are brought to you by Joshua LaFon with Simply Vegas Real Estate, a realtor here to help educate current and future Las Vegas locals on selling and investing in real estate. You're probably asking yourself, educate. Yes, there's a surprising amount of adults that when it comes to real estate, don't know the right questions to ask, don't know where to start, and think they need a lot of cash to buy a house in Nevada, which simply isn't true. So Josh has decided to make it his responsibility to teach his clients what they need to know, and equally important, what they need to ask to help ensure making their home ownership dreams a true reality. So make sure you call or text Joshua LaFon today at 702-813-0533. This has been another paid advertisement from Joshua LaFon with Simply Vegas Real Estate. Make sure you give him a call, 702-813-0533. You already know what it is. Jose V, Rob G, Quan 59, back up in the studio Wednesday night. Thank you so much for joining us. We are all the way live from downtown Las Vegas, Nevada, here on the Guerilla Cross Radio Network. Rob, I hope you're having a good night. I hope you're ready. I hope you're excited. Haven't seen you for a few days. I'm tired. I told you I drove to AZ yesterday.
Down and back?
Yeah, man, down and back. Took off in the morning, came back in the afternoon. Right back to work at 8 a.m. for the meeting, man. I'm exhausted, but I'm here.
You had a meeting at 8 a.m. too?
Yeah, bro. 8 a.m. meeting. But yeah,
Wow.
I'm here doing my thing, hanging out with you guys as always, getting ready to chop it up, talk some sports conversation. We got a lot to talk about tonight. Some UFC stuff, MLB right around the corner. Opening day, Rob. I know you're excited about that because I know you like baseball. We got baseball talk as well. In our new segment to start off the show here, we're going to start off shortly, the round table. Basically, we're going to go around the world of sports. Quick little chatter, give you our quick comments and thoughts on things that we can't get into too much, but just let you know how I feel, how Rob feels. If Quan wants to jump in, he's more than welcome as always. And if you guys want to jump in and chime in on the conversation and just chop it up with us, give us a call. The phone number is always, as you can see on the bottom ticker, 702-608-3259. Not only that, Zach the intern, he is live with us as well. He's not in studio, but he's in California, but you're going to definitely hear him on the show with us as well. He is on all things social media, checking everybody out with your questions, comments, concerns, emotional outbursts, whatever it may be. He's going to let us know what you're saying. He's going to chime in as well. You're going to hit him up. You're going to talk to him. Trust me. We have a fun show on tap tonight. We're watching the game. Lakers are down by 15. Quan and I have a bet tonight that the Lakers will lose by 20. I said they will. Quan said they won't. Do I have that correct?
No chance they're going to lose by 20.
And we got a $5 bet.
Down by 15 right now with 10 minutes in the fourth, but no chance they lose by 20.
Let's go, Milwaukee. Good thing I left my Laker hat in the car. But, man, I'm excited. We got a fun show tonight. Definitely a lot to talk about for sure. If you guys are watching, go ahead and press that like button, that share. Throw a comment in there. Let everyone know who you are watching tonight. We are live on the Guerilla Cross app. Download it today on all of the app stores, whether it's Apple, whether it's Google. If you're watching it on Facebook, on the Guerilla Cross app, on my page, and of course, I got to mention it because I don't say it. We have a page on Facebook, Straight Bet Sports. It's not my personal page. It's not Rob's personal page. It's just the show's page. We're going to start posting a lot more there. We're going to start doing a lot more with Zach as well, trying to run the show there. So go follow it if you haven't already done so on Facebook, Straight Bet Sports, just like the name of the show. Not Straight Bet Sports with Jose V, Straight Bet Sports. It's on Facebook. Trust me, we're going to try to blow it up, have some fun with it as well. Try to post some daily content and get all of the listeners and all of the followers involved, chiming in, joining in, and having fun with us. Now, Rob, what are you most excited to talk about before we get into the roundtable?
Well,
hopefully MLB a little bit. Opening day tomorrow. Games are all day. Kind of miss. We just had the March Madness and stuff like that. But I like baseball. You get sports during the day, 2 or 3 times a week and stuff like that. So mostly baseball. Breakfast baseball. Yeah, that's exciting to be back, and it's going to be interesting to see, how some teams play after some moves and stuff. The Mets just gave up $341 million,
which we'll get into here as well in the roundtable. Definitely. Now, the new segment, like I said, roundtable. We're going to try to get this up and running every single week because there's a lot of topics that sometimes we cannot get through. But if we throw it in there within a quick little 10-minute segment, we could chop it up, give you my opinion, break it all down. Who knows? Maybe it becomes a bigger conversation for a later show. But as we've done in the previous shows, we've done sponsorships with other people. Other people have sponsored some of our segments. If you guys want to do so, you already see Joshua LaFon is our show sponsor, which I think we might be coming back. Just to let you guys know, me and Josh are going to be sitting down soon talking. He said he's still interested in continuing with the show, so that's great news.
We got to get Josh on the
we got to get Josh on the show, definitely. But that's great news. Don't want to jinx anything, but Josh and I will be talking soon. So that's great news for the show. Great news for us, obviously. More growth, more continuation. Keep it going, right? Got a lot more ideas for us to do. But if you guys want to be part of the show, man, you want to sponsor a segment or just be a sponsor of the show, straightbetsports@outlook.com. I don't know how many more times I can say it. straightbetsports@outlook.com. Hit us up. Send us your email. Let us know what your business is. Not only that, I heard Quan say it on another show. If you got free stuff you want to give away and just promote your business, I'm down with that too. You got a shirt company, you got a clothing company, you got a hat. You see I wear hats all the time. Rob's always got a hat on. Hit us up, man. Definitely. We'll help promote your business. You're going to hook us up. We're going to definitely help you out, right?
7 3/4.
7 3/4. Mine grew. I'm 7.5 now. But I like the snapbacks too if you got those. But let's go ahead and jump to the roundtable real quick, Rob. Let's start this segment off real quick. Obviously, baseball. Baseball's right around the corner tomorrow. We have opening day. Obviously, the Dodgers are the main favorite to win it all. You are a diehard Dodger fan. Mm-hmm. When it comes to that, real quick, how do you feel about opening day? And do you feel that your Dodgers are the legitimate favorite to win it all?
I think so. I think they're going to repeat. It's easy to say that too, right, from a Dodger fan, but I think that they, are bringing back most, if not. No, they're not bringing all. I can say that. I know that. They lost a few. They lost Jock. I think they lost. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they got a decent, with May now being named.
Kike's gone too, right?
Kike's gone too, yeah. Kike's gone.
Role players, man.
Right. And Kike is hit some huge time home runs in the past for us and put us in some favorable positions to kind of, get to the World Series. But, it's just next man up, right? That's kind of how it works in all sports, right? Next man up. So I think the Dodgers, are going to go all the way. They are in a with the up and coming San Diego Padres now. They're making some noise over there. Tatis, Machado. I still think they got Hosmer. But with May, solidifying the being the fifth starter in that rotation, I think that and they're saying it early in the season, so everyone kind of knows their role. I think that's going to play into their favor later on down the road because everyone's going to know where they stand.
Big shout out to the Let the Ball Bounce crew, Goose Thomas, Bill Logan chiming in. My primo Eddie Martinez, as always, he's always the first one on, chiming in, hopping in, man. Greatly appreciate you guys as always. Now, my thoughts, my opinions on opening day. I'm excited because we're going to have more of a regular baseball season this year, right? We're not going to have 60 games or 50 games, whatever it was for the COVID season. It was 60, right?
Yeah.
For the COVID thing, the COVID, situation and everything. But I'm excited. We're going to have a longer season. I think we're going to see a lot more for the players. There's a lot more opportunities of fans being in the stands with a lot more opening up and a lot more things going on with that as well. I want to see Dodgers-Yankees, Rob. I want to see that.
We all do,
I've been chiming that for a while now, especially since the Yankees started getting hot. The Dodgers got back to prominence, obviously. A lot of people say the Dodgers became the Yankees of the National League because they started spending money. I like that. You got to spend money to win championships regardless. Now, the Dodgers aren't bringing in freaking the biggest and keeping in the biggest. You got Mookie, I get that. But you have a lot of good name hardcore role players that are doing their job. I like it. I think the Dodgers can repeat. Will they? Who knows? I want to see Dodgers-Yankees. I'm
Just
calling
know
it
that
right
the
now.
problem is on your side of the table, right?
Why is it on my side of the table?
Well, because the Yankees can't make it to the World Series. The Dodgers keep going to the World Series, and yet you want to see Dodgers-Yankees.
Yeah.
The Dodgers have no control over whether the Yankees make it, right?
So what are you saying, that you guys are going to make it regardless no matter what every year?
Well, I mean, at least for this year, maybe for the foreseeable future. I mean, not say forever, but when the playoffs start, I mean, Dodgers don't have any say in how the Yankees play, and
Okay.
y'all got to overcome that. You make it to the ALCS. I don't know how many years, but
See, we got to follow baseball this year because I didn't follow it last year because of COVID.
last year was tough. I'm gonna be honest with you, it was tough to follow.
All sports were tough last year.
Agreed. And this year, a little interesting. 100. I don't remember how many games. I think they're going the full. Everything is I think it's once. I
think they're doing 150 this year.
Yeah,
it's like
I saw on William Hill that it says if you want to take a feature on a team or the regular season wins, it's a minimum of 150 games. So there has to be at least a minimum 150. So I think there's more than 150 maybe.
Okay, gotcha. Rob G, Jose V, Straight Bet Sports here on the Guerilla Cross Radio Network. Continuing with the roundtable, let's stick with baseball. We just talked about it. Quan mentioned it when he drove in that it was announced that Francisco Lindor, New York Mets, have agreed to a 10-year, $341 million contract. Some of us might say that no human being deserves that type of contract.
I agree. There are some baseball players that deserve that, and there's only like one or two, maybe.
Correct, but I mean, is this going to become the norm for these guys? And let's be real. How much of this 10-year contract is he really going to be that guy, that superstar that you're paying? Like, are we basically looking at this guy as the Manny Machados, right? Or the Mike Trouts? Like, are we looking at it as these big name guys that are going to change your organizations? Granted, Trout hasn't won anything, but he hasn't had much around him either. A lot of people say that. But this is the Mets. Is this more of a money move for Lindor, or is this really he thinks he's going to win something there? Now, before you say, I personally think it's a money move. You're not going to win anything with the Mets right now. Let's be real. Especially in the National League with so much more firepower on other teams, hence the Dodgers. You know what I mean? You still got to get through them. I think this is a money move. 10 years, 340. No one else was going to offer that. You cannot say no to that. So I think it was a money move.
Well, then the Mets have a new owner, right? And I think they wanted to come in and
make a splash,
right? Get a big signing on the board. I think it's it is the third biggest contract in MLB history.
Okay.
For Lindor, I mean, yeah, he's a great player. Is he a Mike Trout? No. Is he a Mookie Betts? No. Or that's yet to be told, right? We haven't, he's had some really good moments in his career, but I don't think he's worth 341. I think the Mets overpaid for him, and I think that it's going to kind of bite them in the end. Well, there's also the details of the contract, right? Like, a lot of that could be incentive based, could be performance based. Obviously, how many games you play, all that. So I still don't think he's worth it. And I think the Mets are going to regret it in probably say 5 years. You
know what comes to mind when I see this contract? I think of the Mets when they signed Bobby Bonilla.
Oh,
Bobby Bonilla Day. They still pay that dude. What is it? 1.5 million every single year on the same day.
I think it's like 1 mil.
It's insane, man. These contracts are just crazy, bro. Imagine if we could be out there. I'll be a bench player. Like, I will be the greatest bench player you've ever had. Like, if they had an award for the sixth man of the bench that didn't even play, that would be me.
I think any of us would take a bench, a bench spot, and like a utility. Just think of some good ones over the years, but like I'm trying to think of Nick Punto, right? Like remember Nick Punto? That was a good one.
Yeah.
Like I think it's a great counsel. I think he's a coach now, but those players, that just come in moments when they need them to, either play the field or just, an at bat when the pitcher's up and stuff like that. But they're still making decent money, so I'd take that any day.
So let's move on from baseball. Let's continue with the chatter here real quick on the roundtable. So huge loss for Germany today.
Huge.
If we're going to talk sports and we're going to talk soccer, especially soccer betting, 2,800 on the money line for Macedonia.
Yeah, I mean,
North Macedonia wins 1-0 because Warner couldn't score a goal.
2-1.
2-1, I'm sorry.
2-1.
Because of a missed goal from Warner.
I didn't see that highlight. I was following all the games today. I love international soccer, especially when it's that that time frame. it's a short window, right? That window, it's already back. Where it was just like I think it was like maybe a week, and then
And this
it's
was
back.
a UEFA qualifier, right?
Correct.
It wasn't a friendly.
No, this is a World Cup qualifier,
Gotcha. Okay.
Group J. The good thing for them is that there's still plenty of time left, right, for Germany. But just to think, like, people still in their mind have Germany. You know, if you were to guess, if I were to ask you, how about you? We play with guess what number Germany is ranked FIFA wise
right now.
ranking
If I had to guess, I would say top 10.
They're ranked number 13, right?
Okay,
So
okay.
them, you know, they've really fallen down since the last World Cup, right? When they didn't even make it to the next stage. So I for them to be ranked number 13, I think that's probably where they belong. But it is a shocking loss. Don't get me wrong. North Macedonia is actually like 66th or 65th on the FIFA World Cup ranking. So for them, and it was on the road, right? And it was on the road, so it is still a huge loss. But Germany has definitely fallen from that pedestal, and there's other teams internationally that have taken over their spot.
Huge loss for Germany, obviously, definitely. That's not the type of loss that you expect from that type of team. Now, I don't want to backtrack,
It's
but
almost becoming the norm, though, a little bit for them, right?
dogs, bro, definitely. Zach, do we got anybody chiming in on social media that you want to let us know about anything that's being said, whether it's the baseball chatter we're having or the soccer? Let us know, my man.
Yeah, actually, we have one question from Brian about baseball with the contract. Is Tatis even worth that money either? A lot of guys are overpaid and haven't proven anything. What do you guys think?
Fernando Tatis, Brian Aleman chiming in from the American Outlaws. Sponsored a few of our segments last weeks. What do you think, Fernando Tatis?
I don't think at least right now, I don't think he's worth giving up that much. I mean, looking down the list, you got Trout at number 1, right? $426 million. You got Mookie Betts at $365.
Okay.
I want to say, yeah, he's got 2 World Series now, one with the Red Sox. Then you got Lindor, unproven in my mind still. You got Tatis Jr., unproven. Bryce Harper at, what, 330? Yeah, it's a maybe for me, right? It's a maybe.
Bryce is the one that I don't think is going to win anything.
Right, I feel bad, especially. I mean, the Phillies are a great organization.
Oh, of course, definitely.
Great organization, and then you got Giancarlo Stanton, right? Definitely a no.
Definitely a no.
Definitely, you got Garrett Cole, who is like we just talked about, Yankees not doing their part, doing his part though with the Yankees. He's done his thing. He did his thing with the Astros. He did his thing he's doing his thing with the Yankees. I think he's probably lived up to that contract so far of $324 million. And then the last one is Manny Machado on this list, and I don't think that he's ever going to live up to that list, or the list, but also that amount, $300 million. I mean, I think he's a lazy baseball player. He was lazy.
Agree.
He's lazy. There's no hustle in him, and I think he took the money and
live by the beach.
It was the Padres' chance to give someone $300 million, and it was Manny Machado. So I mean, it is what it is at that point. I don't think he's going to live up, and they're not going to win championships because of Manny Machado. They're going to win championships because of their pitching and maybe Tatis. But you got 2 people from the San Diego Padres up on that $300 million list.
It's going to be interesting.
It's World Series or bust at that point. You got $640 million tied up between 2 players.
Gotta love the Padres. Gotta love baseball. Brian also chiming in saying, switching back to the soccer real quick, Rob, only the 3rd loss ever for Germany in a World Cup qualifier, and it ends their 35-game winning streak.
Still ranked 13.
So it's a huge loss.
Still ranked 13 though.
Definitely a huge loss, man, for sure. Now, that was fun. We didn't get through a lot, but we got through a couple quick topics there. Fun little segment. Like I said, the round table. If you guys interested in sponsoring it or even chiming in or jumping in, doing something with us on the show, StraightBetSports@Outlook.com. Jose V, Rob G, Quan59. Straight Bet Sports here on the Guerilla Cross Radio Network. GuerillaCross.com. Remember, check it out if you have not done so. Do so. If you're checking out the ticker here on the bottom, check out all of the other shows on the network. If you're a hip-hop fan, you like good music, check out Speak Life Radio. You will not be disappointed. You like sports chatter, sports conversation, and real talk, check out all the other shows. Let the Ball Bounce. No Plays Off. I got that right, Quan, right? No Plays Off. Got to support the network, man. If you're watching me, please support everyone else on here and continue to watch as well. So moving on, Rob, to our next segment here. I wanted to give some props to Gil Martinez and some of his fighters. So Gil Martinez, obviously, you guys been watching the show, following. Ezequiel Borrero and a couple other fighters as well that he has. He was in the show a couple weeks back. They are right now in Mexico, in Los Mochis. He's got fight night tomorrow. He's got 3 fighters that are fighting tomorrow, and I wanted to give him a big shout out, and I wanted to wish him a good luck from the show, from me, from Rob, from Quan, everybody here at Guerilla Cross. We wish you best of luck. Let's go ahead and start off with Yadira Bustillos. Hopefully I said that right. Her pro debut, these fights are tomorrow, by the way. 20 years old. She fights at 106, 8, and 112 pounds. Tomorrow is her pro debut, so hopefully she can get that W. Next on the list is Andy Beltran, fighting at 122. He's 1-0, 1 knockout. These are professional fighters, by the way, not amateur fights. These are professional fights. 19 years old. And Kevin Urrutia, I hope I said that right as well. He should be on the show next week, by the way. Him and Gil should be stopping by. See if we can get all 3 fighters in here. That'd be nice. He's also 1-0 with 1 knockout. 18 years old. If you guys want to enjoy these fights, make sure you check out UFC Fight Pass. It's going to be on the Roy Jones Jr. card. Like I said, live from Los Mochis, Mexico, tomorrow night on Roy Jones Jr. Televised live on the UFC Fight Pass. Best of luck to Gil Martinez and his fighters, Yadira, Andy, and Kevin. Get the W. Come back home with the victory. And we'll see you on the show next week. Best of luck. You excited for them? Yeah, we're having them on next week.
All 3 of them?
Who knows? Maybe. But for sure, we got Gil and we got Kevin. I know that.
All right.
That's definitely going to happen. We're definitely going to have them on. I'm excited, man. All these young and up-and-coming fighters, want to give them some props, want to show them some love, want to
give
let
them
them
some
know.
mic time,
yeah,
right?
Give them some mic time. Get them excited. You know what I mean? Let them know what it is. You know what I mean? Let them enjoy that. Just have a conversation with us, just like we do with anybody else, right?
Right.
So moving on. Let's see what we got. Francis Ngannou, the crowned champ, as he likes to call himself now, right? I don't know if you saw the fight. I did. Thanks to you, I did.
Right, thanks to me.
Greatly appreciate Rob.
Did it
Hood.
come through clear for you? It was
perfect.
It was perfect. I had to jump between feeds a little bit, but you know what's so funny?
Can't give the information on how we saw that. But, you know.
But actually, I kind of missed it. It jumped from like fighting to just them holding up Ngannou. So I was like, well.
You mean holding up Stipe?
No. His trainers, Ngannou, were holding him up for the win. So, but
now he says he wants to fight John Jones, obviously, which is the fight that everyone wants to see. John Jones moving up to heavyweight. That would probably be one of the best fights to watch in this year. But he also wants to fight Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis is an interesting fight based off of from what I've seen and from what I've read.
I don't think you fight. So if you want to fight both of those fighters, I think you have to fight Derek Lewis first, right? Because if you fight John Jones and lose, I guess you could do it either way. But if you're going to make the most money and have the anticipation build up this year, you're going to want to fight Derek Lewis first. If you fight John Jones first and then lose, I kind of feel like maybe you're going to lose that. Not say you're going to lose that fight with Derek Lewis. They still want to see it. We probably all want to still see it. But I feel like if you're going to line it up correctly, Derek Lewis is first.
So before we get into the future of the fights or what's going to happen or whose his opponents could be, did you watch the fight? Or from what you did see afterwards?
I watched it. I want to say.
From what I saw a Francis Ngannou that was a lot smarter. He was a lot more patient. He looked like a completely different guy compared to the first fight. The first fight, he just looked anxious, ready to fight, ready to knock him out just to get in there. He looked a lot smarter. He made sure the ground game didn't get him, which was huge.
The stuffs on the takedowns was huge.
And watching that fight, it was just a matter of time for that knockout to happen, I thought.
Yeah, that honestly was...
it was a monster knockout.
Bro. I didn't bet it, but I feel like watching that fight, like, it was like a great in-play bet if you could have got a good price because you were like, it's coming. You know what I mean?
Exactly,
it's coming. Like, it's going to happen.
Over and under was 1.5 rounds.
It went under, right? It went under like by
by a few.
By a few, right? Yeah. But you just kind of felt it coming after, especially the way the first round went, and then going into the second round, you kind of knew that it was coming, and it is a different fighter, right? It is someone that you can actually see that can maybe, even if it's John Jones's first fight back after all this BS that he's going through, again, right? I want to say again, Ngannou looked like someone, like John Jones. He could beat John Jones. The way that it's not easy to say that about a lot of fighters, right? Like a lot of fighters in their prime and they're coming off the best fight, they've ever had in their career, and you're still looking like still can't beat John Jones, right?
Exactly.
Still can't beat John Jones. After this fight, I feel like Francis, the way that he looked, I think that he is definitely going to give John Jones a run for his money, if not beat him.
I want to see that fight.
Yeah,
I really do.
You want to see it first, or you want to see Derek Lewis?
No,
or you
I want to see the Derek
Jones?
Lewis. I want to see the Derek Lewis fight because, like Brian chimes in and said, that was the last guy that beat him. What's up, Quan?
I just want to talk about it.
Go for it. You
Go.
put your hand up.
Yeah,
You told me to talk about it.
I did, because I was like, I don't think I'm gonna have too much to say about UFC, but go ahead.
Yeah, but they already fought before, Ngannou and Derek Lewis. It was a super boring fight. It was supposed to be like a great
They said
fight.
it was the most boring fight ever.
Yeah, it was really boring. Derek Lewis beat him already. I think it would be a much different fight this time, but you have to make the John Jones fight. John Jones is saying they're only offering $8 to $10 million for the fight. He wants a lot more. Derek Lewis said, "I'll take $8 million," because they're not making that kind of money. But that's the fight they have to make. That's the fight they're going to make. I think Ngannou can beat John Jones. We haven't seen John Jones at heavyweight, so it's going to be a lot different for him. But Ngannou just looks like a different beast, especially, I mean, he handled Stipe. And we saw Stipe just handle Cormier a few months ago. So I think it's going to be really different. But that's the fight you have to make, because you don't want Ngannou losing to Derek Lewis again, because they're really trying to build up Ngannou as like the next great thing.
Yep.
So it has to be him and John Jones. Jones hasn't fought in a long time. His last fight was Dom Reyes.
If you're
I think that's the fight you have to make. So pay John Jones. If you got to pay him $15 million, do it. He's worth it.
If you're gonna if John Jones, if you're trying to build up Francis and you want him to beat John Jones, right, for the company, right, for the UFC, for the ratings, for all that, I think this is the best shot coming off of this long layoff.
So Dana White said that he thinks John Jones is afraid of Francis Ngannou.
I would be too, to be honest with you. The way that he looked, and what he was able to do with Stipe.
Dana White, and look how much he's gone to back up John Jones.
Yeah,
all he's doing is hyping.
Of course,
and he's got to do it.
I mean, probably Quan can maybe tell us, but that in my mind, I don't remember a bigger fight than that in the UFC than in a while. For me, at least, right? I'm not a huge UFC fan, but that's huge. Like,
what would you compare it to then? From the fights that you say have been big that you've seen, what would you compare this to? Would you compare this to like a Conor McGregor,
And that would be a huge
Jose
fight,
Aldo?
but Conor McGregor is still the biggest draw, so whoever he fights is a huge draw. So Conor and Habib Nurmagomedov,
that was huge. So I would compare it to that. I would maybe compare it to that.
I don't think it would be that big, but it would be big for sure. Especially now, there's 3 African champions.
Yeah.
So they're making a big deal out of that too with Ngannou, Kamaru Usman, and Israel's Adesanya. So the good thing about UFC compared to boxing, we talk about it all the time, is the fact that the best fighters are fighting each other all the time, and these big fights are able to happen. So I think we will see it before the year's over. I think it might. I hope they don't wait that long, but it could be the end of the year fight, or hopefully sometime in the summer, like a August, September fight.
I want to see it. I really do, man. I think it's going to be a big payday fight, especially now with the way that everything is, where they're probably going to go somewhere like the next one's going to be in Jacksonville.
The next one's in Jacksonville, and then that's UFC 261 in Jacksonville, April 24th.
And they said full.
Then May 15th, UFC 262 is going to be in Houston, Texas. So I'm trying to go out to both of them.
And they're both open capacity, right?
Yeah.
There's like no capacity limits whatsoever.
The Rangers are they're going 100% tomorrow.
Yeah.
Rangers are 143,000 people going to be in the
Joe
stadium
Biden said
tomorrow.
you don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah, he said it's a
Speaking of
mistake.
which, yesterday, just going off topic, I went to Arizona. So Arizona has lifted the mandate. So I went to a gas station on the way there, right? And I'm in the gas station and I'm walking around. I see both attendants don't have a mask on. It's like, all right, maybe, whatever.
Well, no, it's based on the
I know,
the establishment.
but I didn't know that. I didn't know that the mandate was up. So then I see a cop walk in and he doesn't have one on and starts eating a hot dog, talking to 2 other reps. I'm like, what? So as we're leaving, I put my window down and asked the cop, I'm like, hey, is there like no mandate here anymore? Because we live in, Nevada and it's different. He's like, oh yeah, here there's no mask mandate. It's just up to businesses, obviously, if they say yes or no, whatever. Bro, I was walking around without a mask. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Certain spots I was walking around without a mask.
We're almost to that point. We're almost to that point. I mean, they're bringing back contact sports, right? They're putting up the rims at Sunset Park,
Yeah.
right? We're gonna start playing. I'm gonna start playing basketball again.
Yep.
So, they don't expect you to play basketball with a mask on. So it's like we're almost there too as well. So yeah, it's getting there. We're there.
Final question before we jump off of UFC, just real quick. Is that the end of Stipe? I think yes. 36 years old. You're already being considered as the greatest heavyweight of all time in the UFC.
I think you come back for one more.
Against who?
I don't know.
You fight Cormier again?
Maybe.
I mean, like,
no.
I say you hang it up. Quan, what do you think?
I think he might. But I think that's the thing. Every time a champion loses, it's like, oh, you got to retire now. And I don't necessarily think so. I think you can see him taking a year off and not fighting again. But listen, man, he was the best and loses to one dude who's up and coming and ripping everybody to shreds lately. So I wouldn't say he's done. I mean, come back, fight one or two more times. Who knows whatever happens with the John Jones and Ngannou fight, and then Derek Lewis up next. So maybe he sits out a year and fights John Jones. I think that'd be a really good fight to see in a year if John Jones could take the belt from Ngannou.
There we go. I'm excited.
The best thing about UFC is, before we end that, is that they give us the fight, right? We're over in boxing. We're like, I wish I saw this. I wish I see this.
Exactly.
UFC's going to give us this fight. So, it's going to happen. It's most likely going to happen this year too, as well, versus boxing where it can happen in 2 years or a year, maybe out of the fighter's prime. They're not the same fighter. UFC's going to give it to us.
So Brian chimes in. He says, Stipe has 2 fights left on his contract. Cormier is retired, and Ngannou said he's willing to give him the trilogy. Okay.
We need Brian to be our stat guy. We need Zach. Where's Zach?
Sorry, bro. We might have to replace
Brian's coming
you
with
Brian.
the stats. That's what we need.
Stat man.
I'm just playing.
Oh, man. Jose V, Rob G, Zach the intern, Quan59 behind the big board doing what he does. Thank you so much for joining in tonight here on the Guerilla Cross Radio Network. Let's move on, Rob. Let's talk some NCAA tournament.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, we're down to the Final Four. Gonzaga, Baylor, Houston, and of course, the final team that a lot of people are calling the Cinderella.
UCLA,
UCLA. I like Mick Cronin. I'm sorry. I like Mick Cronin. I like what he's doing at UCLA. I remember when all the chatter when he was at Cincinnati was that he wouldn't leave because of his daughter and everything else that was going on. And there was talks of him coming to UNLV, which we know he wasn't going to happen. Long story short, never happened. He's at UCLA now, one of the original blue bloods, as they like to call it, right? The blue blood schools. He's doing good, man. They were in the first 4, I believe, right? And they had to beat Michigan State.
Yeah, they had to beat Michigan State. They had to beat
after being down 14 at half in that game, by the way. Came back and beat Michigan State. They're doing it, bro. I like what they're doing. It's exciting times right now for UCLA. They're getting back into the basketball groove. Obviously, I got the USC. I know I'm a USC guy, through and through. Never had a chance against Gonzaga, even though that line came up and they were begging you to take the money line because USC looks so good. But we're on a basically train wreck to Gonzaga Baylor, right? Is what we've talked about all year. We're talking about historic season for Gonzaga. Can they go undefeated? Can they win it all? The last team to do it was Memphis, even though it's asterisk and taken out because we know the violations that happened with Derrick Rose when he was there and John Calipari. But I want to see it happen. I really do. And not just because I want to see the undefeated season, but I finally want to see Mark Few get that championship. I finally want to see Gonzaga get that chip. That school that everyone said is no one. They don't play anyone. They're never going to be anybody, right? And what did this guy do with this program? He's grown this program. Jock Stockton's old school. When Jock Stockton was there, it was a small gym, even though they still got a small one. But it was a small gym back in the day.
Give me my money.
Uh-oh, wait, whoa. What's
going on? Give me my money.
15, huh? Oh, it's going to run it out.
All right, Quan.
$5.
Quan,
Request it.
Straight bet. Straight bet.
Straight bet on Straight Bet Sports.
I owe Quan $5.
Woo! You got straight bet.
Lakers couldn't lose by 20. Anyways.
Lost by 15.
Going back to the Zags. I want to see them win it. I do. I think it'd be a great story. And I do want to see them play Baylor. I want to see them play Baylor in the final because it's that 1-1 matchup. It's that 1-2 throughout the year matchup where Baylor and the Zags were 1-2 all year. Not only that, you have a Baylor school, which is Big 12. I'm sorry, right? Big 12.
Big 12.
It's a college basketball conference. You got Kansas there. You got schools that are tough. So Baylor's not just your no offense to UNLV or anybody else. They're not your Mountain West school or your West Coast Conference school or a WAC conference.
Great opponents.
They play
all year.
Great opponents. So for the Zags to go undefeated and then beat a team like Baylor, I think would be great.
We talk about those like teams that are having Cinderella or what this coach has done with this team since taking over, and I don't have any, I can't say any at the top of my head right now, but Gonzaga is probably the most organic team from the beginning. That's when you talk about what Mark Few has done since he's gotten there, and how long he's been there and where they've been, and they've been so close. They were just in the championship game, 2 years ago, I think it was. Well, obviously not last year, but I think 2 years against North Carolina, right? Yeah. So they've been on the cusp of getting that first championship, and I don't think there's any stopping them this year either. They have a great squad. Their big man, is probably the best that's left in the tournament. I don't think UCLA has a chance.
You don't think they have a chance?
I don't think they have a chance.
Just like that, no chance.
Well, it's just if you watch, they talked so much about it during the last game when it was Michigan about their inside play, right? The big man play inside, and UCLA was super fortunate. I think Michigan just laid an egg towards the end, right? They had plenty of opportunities to take the lead. They were down 10, came all the way back, took the lead for a second, and they just kept letting UCLA back in. And at the end, they had a plethora of opportunities. There was I think one of the players shot the ball with like 9 seconds, and it looked like it was like a shot that you would take with like half a second left on the clock. So it's just they didn't realize where they were in the game. It was that Juwan Howard Fab 5 jinx, right? Or is it the Fab 4? I'm sorry. Is it? But that jinx of Michigan,
Chris Webber.
Right? The Chris Webber. I don't think UCLA has a chance against Gonzaga. I think that UCLA don't have a big man. Their big man, I think, got hurt before the season started. UCLA, I'm sorry, doesn't have a big man, if I didn't say that right. And got hurt before the season started. They're relying on this. I think his name's Riley. They're relying on him really, a lot. He fouled out last game, and I just think, this Timmy with Gonzaga, Timmy is just
with
gonna
the mustache.
Yeah, with the handlebars.
The handlebars.
Is I think player of the tournament. I mean, if anything,
so far.
Sure. But it's going to be Gonzaga, and the one I say is don't sleep. We're talking about that matchup a lot, but don't sleep on Houston.
I was about to say that. Kelvin Sampson.
Don't sleep on Houston.
Let's talk about Kelvin Sampson. This dude's been through it all, right? Allegations, speculations, different schools, big name programs. Now to be at Houston, which back in the day, before you and I, when you know what I mean? Houston was a basketball school, and that's what they're known for. I think that's the Cinderella story that true college basketball, diehard college basketball fans that are college basketball fans above all before any other sport, which I'm not going to say I am because I'm just a fan of sports in general. I think that's probably the Cinderella story more than anything that probably a lot of true college basketball fans want to see, especially fans of the sport, knowing what Kelvin Sampson has been through. You know what I mean? For him to be here with Houston in the Final Four, pandemic season or not, whatever you want to call it, they brought the tournament back, and you still had to go through the same format as everyone else, right? To get there and be there.
It's great for them to be there. Don't get me wrong. You're playing, one of the top two teams in Baylor, but they had an easy ride, right? They haven't played a single digit seed the entire time. It was just the 1, 2, or they're the 2, the 1, 3, and 4 get knocked out. Who expected Illinois to be knocked out?
Hey, they can't control that part of their destiny.
No, of course not. I'm not saying
it's easy for us to say that.
That shouldn't harm them.
Play anybody.
That shouldn't harm them. But if that was the path that they were given, they should be where they are now.
Correct.
Like it's not like they, it's not like they.
Basically, if you're saying if they didn't get there, then we'd be talking about
right. It would be worse if
happened?
They didn't get there than getting there. And that's I don't want that to overshadow Houston making it to the Final Four. But watch out for them. I mean, Baylor's only -5. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be betting Baylor on them, maybe in the money line, parlay it, whatever. But me personally, I'd maybe look to take the 5 points.
So I'm going Baylor Gonzaga in the final. Obviously, no coincidence. Everyone else probably has that on their brackets or everywhere. I got Gonzaga winning. I had them winning in my bracket, even though my bracket got busted. I still had them going all the way.
Who'd you have? What happened?
I had Gonzaga Baylor. I had Gonzaga Baylor.
But who busted your bracket? Ohio State or Illinois?
Man, it got busted like in the second round or whatever. Yeah. But college basketball has been fun. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm excited. I'm thankful. Thank you, NCAA, for bringing back the tournament this year. I know they had, minimal fans, which was cool to see, man. It was good to see some fans, better than nothing. It's exciting to have college basketball back up, man. I'm just happy. I hope Gonzaga pulls it off and actually gets that W. I'm rooting with the Zags to win it all.
Championship game's on Monday, right? It's Saturday, Monday. So. Yeah.
What's your bet? Before we move on, man, since we're talking college basketball, make fun of me if you want. My best memory of college basketball, bro, I'll never forget. Villanova, North Carolina, Jenkins, with
Chris Jenkins. Yeah, Jenkins.
Cannery. I'll never, bro. That moment, and you're a Nova fan, not
Yeah,
me.
that's my
but
team.
just the way that game ended. It was basically, it was one good shot deserves another thing. You know what I mean? Because I forgot the dude from, was it Page? I think Page.
Yeah, from North Carolina.
Busted the 3 with the double clutch.
Yeah, the double.
And then Jenkins just, for DiVincenzo to give up that ball.
It wasn't DiVincenzo. It was Archie Diacono, I think it was, that gave up the ball.
Other guy that got
Archie Diacono.
The quickly,
Right.
bro. That was a great game. Great ending too, bro. And that's what college basketball is all about. Those type of memories. That type of stuff.
It's tough to get a buzzer beater like that in the championship game against two, they were pretty much, I know Villanova was, but that was, yeah, we all went crazy. I remember the whole place went crazy, and it was a close line. It was Villanova plus.
Majority of people were North Carolina.
Right. Yeah. Villanova was +2 in that game. And yeah, it was a great ending. Yeah, Villanova finally got it. They took it, and then they took another one already after that. But yeah, Nova's my team. It's good to finally see them after supporting them for so long.
Villanova, man, college basketball. Jose V, Rob G, Straight Bet Sports here on the Guerilla Cross Radio Network. Quan 59 behind the big boards, keeping us going as he does every single Wednesday night. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube. I mean, we're everywhere. If you want to check us out, Straight Bet Sports, Guerilla Cross, Jose V, Jose Volonte. Rob goes by Goldilocks702 on Twitter, as you can see on his Twitter handle there. He doesn't post much, but
What do you make that line though? If you were to guess the line, Gonzaga Baylor, obviously Gonzaga's favored.
I would say Zags -2.5. Should I write that down?
Yeah,
my
write
prediction.
It down.
All right,
mine is going to be
2.5. What's your prediction?
I'd say Zags 4.5. 4.5.
Zags?
Yeah, -4.5.
Wow. Okay, you're going high on that one. All right.
We
shall see.
I just think that they're that much greater than the competition out there this year. I mean, Baylor's had a great season. Don't get me wrong, and they've been on the up and come for a while now too. But Zags -4.5.
Just want to let you guys know, 702-608-3259. A lot of you are chiming in on Facebook. If you want to call, man, let your voice be heard and just chop it up with us. You know what to do. Call the number. Hit us up. Let's make it happen. But moving on, let's move it back to home base here. Kevin Kruger got promoted to UNLV men's basketball head coach. Some people made fun of me on social media. They laughed, said, no way. You're joking, right? Because I said this guy's a great hire. One thing that I've always said is that you got to go away from the old school or the tradition, and like with USC. When it comes to USC football, I've hated the fact that they've continued to hire guys from the Pete Carroll era. It hasn't worked. Let's go away from that. Let's move on. Let's start something else, right? I like the fact that UNLV hired this guy. Everyone has been yelling and screaming and from the hills, from the top, Stacey Augmon, let's hire Stacey. I get it. I'm not saying that Stacey wouldn't have been a great choice. He would have been an amazing choice. But right after Kevin got hired, what did I tell you, Rob? We're talking about his pops, Lon, right?
Right.
Can he retire from Oklahoma? Does he have to, beat Gonzaga because they played Gonzaga in the tournament, right? Does he have to beat Gonzaga to show that, hey, I can possibly get that AD job? Because if you guys know, Desiree Reed-Francois' contract is up at the end of the year. A lot of speculation is stating that she's dipping and going to a bigger school, to a bigger conference, to a bigger name program, right?
She's going to get promoted after.
That's what they're saying. Now, her excuse is, well, TJ got hired. One of our coaches left. That just shows that we're doing something right. No, it doesn't. It just shows that you're not doing something right. People don't want to be here. And it shows that you're using your school as a stepping stone. Back to my point. That's where I think Kevin is not the guy. Kevin is not the stepping stone guy. He's not going to come to UNLV to try to go to a bigger job. I think he's going to come here to create the legacy, to recreate this program, to bring it back to prominence, to bring it back to the Larry Johnson, Stacey Augmon, Greg Anthony days. You know what I mean? I think he's going to bring it back to that. And then how funny. His pops bought a house in Southern Highlands late 2020. You think him and his wife don't want to see his grandkids? You think they don't want to be closer to home? And then again, the contract is up. So Lon Kruger did great things here. He took UNLV to the Sweet 16, I believe it was. Did great things in his college coaching career in general. Did a lot of great things with Oklahoma. I'll never forget the team he had with Buddy Hield. Great run they had in the tournament that year as well.
Final Four, yeah.
If he comes in and becomes the AD, I think it's going to be great for UNLV sports in general. Because I'm sorry, that whole athletic department needs to be cleaned up. I like the Marcus Arroyo hire. We haven't seen much for UNLV football yet, the pandemic and all that. I get that. But I think bringing in someone like Lon Kruger with his experience as the AD, which I know we're talking about Kevin getting hired as the coach because he's the only one that's been officially hired. But remember, if it happens, we talked about it. I think it's a great, great situation that UNLV is in. If I'm wrong, so be it. It's my opinion. Doesn't have to be yours. But I think Kevin Kruger is a great add, a great keep because they didn't let him go anywhere. He played here. He's from the area, technically, if you want to call it that.
Let's say
I love it.
Let's say he becomes AD, right?
His pops,
his pops, right? How long is that leash though? You're going to be the one that has to basically let go of your son. Now, don't get me wrong. I would probably want to give him at least 3 years, right? At least because you're not going to play with your players for at least a year or two. But
he's probably gonna. His pops is probably gonna be the recruiter. His pops is probably gonna be the guy that's gonna bring in the players.
Yeah, you're obviously gonna assist with that.
Correct,
you don't want to step on your son's toes that much. You want to kind of let him build his own legacy at the same time.
Of course.
But him coming in possibly as an AD, I think, and I don't want to play devil's advocate and be on the other side, but that can overshadow his son being hired. And maybe take away some of that. When you open up the media room and all the reporters rush to Pops.
Where's your dad at?
Right, exactly. That's it's the first question that you're gonna get.
What was your dad's game plan, Kevin?
Right. Yeah. So it could be a double-edged sword too. So it'd be interesting. I think it would be a great hire, to be honest with you, if they did make him the AD and then his son was the basketball coach. Because I feel like they're not using it as a stepping stone. They would, they want to live here. They've been part of the UNLV community in the past. Mm-hmm. So I do agree with you that it is a good hire. But it's time, hopefully, that UNLV puts their name back on the map when it comes to basketball, when it comes to football, when it comes to anything, man. We got this great stadium here that I'm sure not only just the UNLV football team is ready to play in it, or they played in it last season, but ready to kind of make some history and make some, memorable moments. But there's opportunity for possibly the UNLV basketball team to hold some games in there, right?
Yeah,
tournaments. To do some stuff like that, right? So, it's not just the football team that's going to benefit from having this brand new stadium. That the basketball team can definitely benefit from it, but they gotta
think about this. Think about
they gotta do their part too.
You basically have the opportunity to do a Carrier Dome type basketball game.
Mm-hmm.
When Syracuse does that sometimes when they play big name opponents.
Yep.
You have that opportunity here in Vegas with this stadium. Why wouldn't you want to do that? You bring in San Diego State, you bring in UNR. Are you kidding me? They would pack, if there was no restrictions, I think they would pack that. Even though UNLV's been bad in the past, right now, being able to have that, I think UNR fans would travel. I think San Diego State fans would travel. So definitely, that would be huge.
Everyone's going to travel.
That would be huge.
Including the Bears fans who just got announced.
Including the Bears fans. We're going to get into that shortly because I know your other half is excited about that because she posted about it on social media. And I knew she would. Definitely she would. I don't blame her for it. But sticking to UNLV sports, Bryce Hamilton, he's out. He said, I'm dipping. I'm going to test the waters. I'm going to enter the NBA draft process. But he's not hiring an agent, which is smart because I believe you don't hire an agent, you can come back, right? If you don't get drafted or whatever it may be. Now, he's a California guy, Pasadena, California. 6'4", 205 pounds. He was the Mountain West Player of the Year last year. I liked him since he was a freshman. When I started covering UNLV sports, I thought he was going to be a great ball player for UNLV. He's put up numbers since he's been here. Is the NBA ready? I don't know yet. I go back to Christian Wood. When Christian Wood dipped out, he wasn't ready. Anthony Bennett should have never left, even though the dude got the number 1 overall pick. We saw what happened to him. Nothing, because we don't even know where he's at now. Probably somewhere in Europe. Now, the fact that he can test the waters, Rob, and doesn't have to necessarily sign with anyone or say, I'm going to go anywhere, then I like that. Because it gives him an opportunity to see what his options are. You know what I mean? But I think if he enters the NBA process and actually gets drafted, he's probably a second rounder. I don't see him being a first rounder. And maybe I can even see him maybe not even going drafted, bro. As crazy as that sounds. I can see him being on a roster, being picked up, G League, you know what I mean? Probably signed to a couple 10-day contracts to start, but I don't see him being a guy that's going to take someone's roster spot right now.
I don't either. I think it's a smart move, though. If I were him, I would be making the same decision. I would test the waters, not hire the agent, do what you got to do. See, you're coming off, probably the best year of your college career, right?
Averaging, what is he, 17 points per game?
Yeah, I think, there were some good teams out there, right? I didn't even realize that if he did win. Did he win Mountain West Player of the Year?
Last year?
Oh, yeah. Last year. Okay.
And then this year he was named to a second team
second team all
Yep.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's some really good. I mean, I know Boise had some ballers on there, and then obviously San Diego State, who made the tourney. But I think it's the right move. I would be doing the same thing if I were him, and if he makes it, and he maybe gets put in the right position. I don't think he's taking anyone's roster spot. I think he probably will go undrafted. If not, maybe one of the last couple picks or whatever you want to say. But it's the right thing to do, at this point in time, in my opinion.
See, he's a pure shooter. Averages 43% from the field. So we know what we're going to get from there. But the problem with him has always been defensively, at least from what I've seen covering him, the way that he plays. He gives up too much on the defensive side of the ball, and that's the problem. If you're gonna be in the NBA, you got to be a two-way player. I mean, unless you're Steph Curry or someone that's going to freaking shoot the ball that way and doesn't really have to play that much D, then you have to be a two-way player in the NBA to make it. Am I right or wrong?
Right. I mean, he's going to have to work even harder just to earn a spot. He's not just going to be able to just, go off of what he did in college. That's going to carry him a little bit. He's going to really have to work. And, hopefully he's mentally prepared for that, because you're going to have to work a lot harder than a lot of people that are going to be, you're going to be playing against, because they're going to have that. People are going to know what they're about, and they're not really going to have to try that hard. Him to make a roster spot, is going to be a big deal and a big process, a long process. So he's got to gain that respect.
So let's give our early, super duper, ridiculous early reaction and prediction to UNLV. Where do we have UNLV basketball ending this upcoming season? Mountain West, obviously. Where do we see them? And obviously, if we have them ranked high in the Mountain West, do we see tournament?
I don't see them finish. I don't think. No, I say bottom half for sure.
Winning record?
No.
Really? No winning record?
I'm gonna say no on that. I'm gonna say no, because there's a lot of good teams now in the Mountain West. BYU, you got San Diego State, Colorado State is on the come up a little bit too, right? And obviously San Diego State, Boise State. If I didn't say them already, I don't.
New Mexico State's ranked top 25 almost every year,
right? And I don't see them, at least this first year with the new coach. I don't really see them making too much progress.
The only thing that worries me is that new coach comes into possible players that weren't his.
Exactly.
But he's been there for the last 2 years with TJ, so that's where it gets a little bit different.
That is true.
That he's been part of that recruiting process. Whether it was a bit or a lot, he was part of that. He's a coach. He's one of the assistant coaches.
It's going to help him.
Exactly.
Right? It's going to help. He's not a brand new coach.
Correct. So how are these players going to gel as him being just the guy? Now he's our coach. He's the man. You got guys like David Jenkins that transferred here from South Dakota State, where TJ Otzelberger was to come play with him. You got guys like Caleb Grill, which I interviewed before we got the show here on Guerilla Cross. Right when he said he was going to transfer from Iowa State to UNLV, and now his coach dipped back to Iowa State. You know what I mean? So, I reached out to him, didn't get no comment, but that's also a topic of conversation. What is this kid going to do? Can he transfer back? Does he have to wait and sit it out a year if he does? Does he really want to follow TJ again? It's an interesting topic of conversation. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say UNLV finishes number 3 in the Mountain West. Okay? I know it's a crazy number.
That is crazy.
I think they're going to finish number 3 in the Mountain West because I think some of these players are going to gel with Kevin because he was already there for a lot of these guys' recruiting process, bro. That's what I'm saying.
The one thing I will say that they do have going for them is that they have nothing. They have, I don't want to say they have, what's the right word? What's the right phrase? Is that
what's the right phrase?
They don't have anything like any pressure, right? Like however they do this season compared to what they did last season, right?
Correct.
So I mean they're playing. There's no pressure on them to finish number 3, right? There's no pressure to finish number 1 or number 2. just do better than last season, right?
Correct.
That's the only thing that they need to accomplish in this next season is just do better than last season. So as long as they can do that, I think they're going in the right direction. Now, if they take a huge step backwards, then the new coach got a lot on his plate, right? Players didn't respond the right way. The players didn't respond in the way that we are sitting here, or you're sitting here, excuse me, and saying that you expect them to come out and play for him since he was, part of the recruiting process.
Good stuff, man. I'm interested. I'm excited to see what's gonna happen with UNLV football,
I want to go to some games though.
Everything. So we're gonna get that. Not only that, now that we're moving on to the end part of the show here, just our open little chatter. We're just gonna basically get to things that we forgot about or just that we want to throw in last minute. Big shout out to John Maxwell, Las Vegas Aces media director. He hit us all up today in the media, letting us know to sign up. So we'll be signing both of us up this year, Rob. Make sure you get there when you can.
Aces,
Las Vegas Aces. I think they're gonna win it this year.
That'd be awesome.
It'd be nice to get that chip. I've kept saying it, and I know I said the Knights are gonna win it this year, and I'm gonna stick to that. But I've always said that the Aces were gonna bring the first chip here. So hopefully the Knights prove me wrong. But if the Knights don't win,
really good this year. I mean, they just lost
which we're gonna get into that
to my Kings
in a minute. But yeah, bro, I'm excited for that. Aces, I'm definitely excited about that. Maybe we get Quan out there, watch some games as well. If your daughter's in town, you could take her as well. Definitely enjoy some games on that. Huh? John, can we please get you to email Quan back? That's all. It's been 3 years. He wants to know what's up. We greatly appreciate you.
Dang. I guess we are really carrying this network, right? I mean, not as well. I'm just playing.
So anyways, what do you want to throw out there, Rob? What did we miss? What do you want to throw in that we didn't talk about? I know you wanted to say something about the season tickets for your Raiders.
Yeah. So
what was mentioned?
NFL just announced they're going to go 17 games.
Okay.
AFC got chosen for the first season as the home team.
Okay.
Right. For that 17th game. Still no dates on when the games are going to be. The schedule hasn't come out yet. But they try to match it with another team that finished in the same, not with the same record, but like in the same position in their bracket. I mean, their bracket, excuse me, in their division. What am I saying here? In their division, and the Raiders got chosen. The Bears got chosen to come play the Raiders here, which is huge, right? You want to talk about fans that travel.
Chicago.
We were just talking about them.
And there's a lot of Bears fans already in Vegas.
Right, unfortunately. So that's huge, right? When I saw that email last night to the season ticket members, the season ticket holders, that's just dollar signs in my opinion. Whether I'm able to actually, put those on the market or not, is going to be a huge decision because, obviously
wife is not going to let you give up those tickets.
Right.
You know it. No way she's going to miss going to Allegiant Stadium to see her Bears get embarrassed by the Las Vegas Raiders.
Right.
There's no way she's going to miss
100-0 and it's still going to be the lot.
It's the Bears, babe.
Yeah, it's that's a huge game though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that just leaves another opportunity for a primetime game because you figure last year the Raiders got 4 primetime games. I mean, just the anticipation only continued to build after last season. We couldn't go to the games, and then this year, I mean, man, if the Raiders can get 5 primetime games,
that'd be nice.
That'd be nice. I mean, the Bears.
The Bears.
I mean, they are who they are. They got the red rifle now, but I'd say maybe I'd want maybe a Sunday night game out of that one.
That'd be nice.
Maybe a Thursday night game. But I know they always do. They always do.
Remember, they can flex Monday night games now. That's part of the new deal.
Oh, wow.
So not only Sunday night, Monday night games can get flexed as well.
But I know the Raiders normally play the Chargers on Thursday. That's their slot, right? That's been going on for years. But maybe a Thursday night would be a nice one too. But once Vegas,
any night in Vegas would be good.
Right. Vegas is going to be jumping. The Bears coming to town is very, very similar to the Packers coming into town, right? Even though the Bears haven't been, living
it's
up to the hype.
It's still a name franchise.
Huge. And, people begging to get out of that cold and get over maybe. It's going to be cold in Vegas, don't get me wrong, too. But, to get out of that cold, to get over here, it'd be nice.
So my final chatter that I want to throw out there that we didn't mention, that I forgot to mention, leave it to the Las Vegas/LA Lights to start their season on Cinco de Mayo at home. Against the LA Galaxy too.
Oh, wow.
So they're basically going to play their crosstown rival now, if you want to call it that, since they're going to be out of LA with LAFC.
I definitely want to go to that game.
The Las Vegas Lights, we'll get there. Trust me. We'll be at that game Cinco de Mayo, definitely. If you guys haven't checked out the schedule, it's already been released. Season tickets are out. I guess they're selling them in hopes of there being fans in the stands and all of that good stuff.
It's a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday night. Cinco de Mayo.
It's
Cinco Mayo.
right, but the game is on Wednesday.
On Wednesday.
What do we
Exactly.
do for the show?
We'll figure it out.
All right.
We might have to do a live remote. Get Brett, hook us up with that. If you're watching, you already know what it is.
That'd be nice. That'd be awesome.
So we got to finish up the show here. We're running towards the end now. Let's go ahead and finish up with our final good night. The Golden Knights did play tonight. They took a L to Rob's LA Kings. Final score 4-2. Big, huge game from Peterson of the LA Kings with 40 saves on the night to hold on to the 4-2 victory over the Golden Knights. Marc-Andre Fleury, tough night tonight. Gave up 4 goals. The Knights are still 24-9-1 on the season. Still looking good regardless of the fact.
They look really good this year. I mean, I know they just lost.
I just, a loss is a loss. You're going to take it. You know what I mean? You're not going to obviously win every single game of the year. You know that. Next game is here at home against the Wild tomorrow night, 7:30. If you guys are going to the games and you guys are fans that have season tickets and you're watching the show or you've just bought tickets to be able to go, hit us up, man. We want to get you on the show. We want to get your thoughts, your experiences. We want to talk to you. We want to see how it's been now that you're back in the Fortress, now that you're experiencing some type of normality with your Golden Knight fans, with your Misfits, as most of you like to call each other, your Golden Misfits. How does it feel to be back with your second family? If you're watching it, hit us up, man. We definitely want to talk about that. But once again, Golden Knights go down tonight 4-2 to the LA Kings. Still the hottest team in the NHL, second in the Western Division. Tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m., puck drop, playing the Minnesota Wild, Jimbo's team. But with that being said, Rob, any final words before we finish up, man?
None. I just said them about the Raiders.
That's it?
That's it. That's all I got. I'm excited. Football, everything. Baseball starts tomorrow. We're
Why
going
do
to
you
get capacity.
sound sad, though? You're like, baseball starts tomorrow.
I usually go to opening day. For the well, they're not at home. They actually open on the road this year. So, 1 o'clock, first pitch. Definitely 1:10. Actually, I'll be watching.
Cool.
Definitely an early out. Always on opening day.
Always, always, always. So once again, next week we'll have Gil Martinez and his 3 fighters, Yadira, Andy, and Kevin. Good luck tomorrow night. Get that W. Till then, I am Jose V. For Rob G, Quan59, Zach the intern, Josh our sponsor. If you want to sponsor, you already know what it is. StraightBetSports@Outlook.com. Till then, next Wednesday night, we are out. Peace.
Peace.